Hello everyone, welcome to this new session. In this session, we will be going to discuss four things, actually five things, if time permits. So, what we are going to see in today's lecture is about volumes. Again, like in our previous classes, we have seen about volumes, but we'll see some more things about volume, and we'll be also seeing about image creation. And for image creation, there are actually two ways. So one of the ways is the commit command. So we will be seeing the commit command today, and one more way, that is docker file. So we will see this in the future classes about docker file. Today we will see about commit. Then we'll be seeing about some basic networking things. Then one architecture we'll discuss, and you can take this as a project for you. You can build a project out of it. Okay. Then we'll also talk about environmental variables in containers, like how it is working. And mark my word, in if you want to have GUI applications. GUI means graphical user interface. Right now, what we do in Docker is completely on CLI, right? Which is command line interface, which is the black terminal you see, right? There's one black terminal, and we will have this shell, and we write codes like commands here, right? This is a shell, like this. So this is a CLI, and what is GUI? This whole frame, like let's say this icons you can see, or this mouse pointer you can see. This is a GUI, right? This softwares which you can interact with by visualizing things. So if you want to run, let's say, GUI programs from the container, so you need to have knowledge about environment variables. And even if you want to build this architecture which we'll see, you also need environment variables, and that's very crucial in containers. Okay, it's not just about Docker. It's not just about Docker. If you even go and learn Kubernetes, okay, so environment variables will be also used there immensely. Okay, so let's first start our lecture with the question which we left in the last lecture, which was where is the data stored when it is in stopped state, right? So if anybody of you have got this answer, and actually there was one more thing, like how you can see it, like how can you prove it? Okay, so if anybody have the answer for it, I am seeing in the chat. I'll be seeing in the chat. If you have the answer, please type it out. And into like we'll begin our session with the answer to it, like where it is stored and how can you prove it, like how can you check it, what the data is and what the difference is. Like to prove this, we need to have a difference, right? First, let's say when we have first created the container, we might create a slash data folder, and inside that we create few files, right? Let's say a.txt we have created, and inside a.txt, let's say we have put some data, and once we exit it or in a stop state, right? So how can you like see where this data is in the stop state, and how can you like get the difference between the initial container and the container which is in the current or the stop state? So if you get this difference, then it is proved, right? Then it is proved that it has been stored in that particular place. So until now I haven't got any answer in the chat box. I'm seeing it right now. If anybody of you have the answer, then uh, type it in the chat box. First, let me check if I'm audible. Okay, yes, I'm audible. Yeah. So, uh, do you have any question? Even if you have tried it, and if you have any question, you can type it out. Okay. I guess no one has tried. Okay. Yeah, I'm not getting any reply, but still I'll wait. If you like, I'll be monitoring the chat right now. So if you give that answer, then it would be very great. It would be one if you get the get this answer, then you will know you can then know everything about Docker, like every internal about Docker you can find from that solution. And you can also build interesting tools using your favorite programming language to even audit the Docker, or even let's say about security of it, if you have found the answer, if you have found this answer. So I guess no one has, so let me give you the answer. So it is actually, if you go to the system, and in the system there is one directory which is where lib docker. So inside this directory there's one folder, a particular folder, and inside this folder you can get this data. Okay, for every container which is even in the stop state. Okay, and we can use a command called diff. If you know the Linux command which is diff, to find the difference between two files, folders, etc., you can use diff. So by using this diff command you will be able to find the difference. Okay, so I'll show you now. And few of them have tried it, and have even connected to me on LinkedIn and asked the question. They were using a flavor called Red Hat. Okay, so they had a question. Actually, they reached to the folder which I was talking about, and they were actually right. They have found the directory where it was, which is this, as I showed you, this one. The name I'll reveal it right now, but they have reached and found this. So they actually they somehow know about this from my even previous one of my seminar which I gave, but it's fine. They know, but they found a problem, which was that this particular directory was not not in this Red Hat system. Now why it was happening? So if you also try, after I'll show you the solution, you would try and you would see that this particular folder, let me give the name, it is called btrfs. And inside btrfs it would be, I guess, sub volume or sub volumes would be there. Okay, volume or volumes. So inside this folder you will get the container id, and every detail about it. They will be different directories would be there. Okay, they are directories of the container. So they were telling that this particular directory is not in the desired directory, like where lib docker. So the simple not the simple answer, but actually you need to even dive into the Linux flavor you are using and about its security. So Red Hat, particularly Red Hat operating systems, have a security called SE Linux. Okay, and SE Linux have some configuration file, and inside that configuration file you need to mention, if you are using containers or let's say Docker, then you need to mention that please allow container whatsoever technology you are using, let's say Docker, to use the BTRFS, okay. So once you allow this permission, or let's say if it's not like allow, but let's say if you acknowledge this, after doing this, you will be able to see this folder. Actually, you can refer to an article from Red Hat itself. So if you just search about containers, and search about like where is the where Docker stores the data when container is in stop state, or about volumes in general. Just search about container volume or Docker volume in Red Hat. So you will find multiple articles, and so many of researchers even have commented there that it is because of this security, and you can even do this thing to get this BTRFS. Actually, BTRFS is a you can say a protocol, or what I say command program to have this volumes, okay, this kind of volumes. If you know, it would be like small databases, very small databases. It is where you can store data. One such database is I guess, if you know, Redis. They can also do similar things. Redis is also there, using which you can do similar things, but this is a whole different thing. We are not going into databases, but they are kind of small file systems they create, okay. Yeah, so let's move to the practical. First of all, I have already launched this Fedora VM just to save our time. And if you see, let me even make it a bit bigger, okay. I guess it's fine and visible. So if you check if there is any container running, so let's check docker ps-a. Yeah, one container is running, and it is in exited or stop state. Fine. So now let's check if that folder is there or not. Docker, and if you do ls-la, which means list, everything in a list order, and all information, like even dot means hidden, everything after dot, if you do it, that's in the hidden part, okay. So if you can see, this btrfs folder is there. And one more thing I need to mention, that this folder is even secured, and that's why you cannot, actually you can go until this folder, but inside, you cannot do everything inside this folders, okay. So you need to be sudo, and you can only do ls-la or cat, okay. You cannot just cd into this folders. So if you check btrfs, there's a folder called subvolumes. Okay, sorry, subvolumes. And here you can see that there are three things, right. Let me even increase it a bit, yeah. So if you see that there is three folders, three directories. They are directories actually, and in one of the directory you can see init, right, which means initial, okay. So initially when the container was launched, then how it was, and after the edit, or after creating something, how it is. So this is means initially, and this is means afterwards. So everything after, like not in init, means the afterward things. So now let's go inside this any one of the folder. Let's say in this folder we'll go the initial one. Okay, just let us first clear the environment. So for that, docker rm, let's say -f, if it's need to be forcefully, docker ps-a-q. Okay. What happened? Docker rm I guess it will also need sudo. Yeah. So now everything is clean and clear. Now one more interesting thing you will come to know. Now let's see that those folders are deleted or not, right? If we have deleted the container, then that data of the container shouldn't be there, right? But if you check it, so that they both have been deleted, and I guess this is for some other purpose. Maybe let me check if there are more containers running. No, it is not, there are no containers, but this might be because of the image that we have. Let's not discuss about that. So let's now create a container. So docker run it, then let's give it a name, os, and just create a simple CentOS image, right? Yeah. So right now you are you have a container, but let's go to a different shell. Let's open a different shell, and now see whether we have another folder created or not. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that this folder is created, right? And this folder is actually of this container. Okay, the initial folder is created where they have the initial data of the container. Now let's say if I make a directory, mkdir data directory, go inside the data directory and make some, like let's say make some password.txt, then touch id.txt, and let's say we have these two folders, and we'll put some information. Let's say I'll put passwd inside the password.txt file. And if you see what's inside this, so our password is there. Okay, let's say this is our password. So now let's exit it. If you do exit, so you are out of the container. If you check the status of the container, it is exited. That means it is in stopped state. And now if you check again, so you will have two folders, as I already mentioned. One would be the initial. So if you check what's inside this initial folder, init, right, initial of this docker, sorry, yeah, just copy it, paste it, right? So you can see this is the file system, right? This is the whole directory of the CentOS which we just exited, and everything seems fine, and there is no slash data folder, right? There is no slash data folder in this. But let's just remove in it and see what is in this folder. In this folder you would find our folder data which we created. Okay, and even inside this data, you can go inside the folder data and you can see what files are there, and even you can uh, check what is inside this file. If you do cat instead of ls-la, cat is used to print the data of that particular file onto the terminal. You can see that we got an output of passwd, which was our password, right? So this is what I was talking about, using this from this folder, which is where lib docker. You can actually build so many tools. You can come to this folder. Let me again show you where lib docker. Inside this you have each and every information about volumes, then trust, temporary things, swarm. If you know Kubernetes, swarm is an alternative to it. Then plugins, you have network settings, images, containers, everything. Btrfs, as I showed you, is for this purpose. So you can do each, you can you can go inside this folder, you can explore how docker internally handles everything, right? So I am seeing one question, which is which package is used for this process. No, there's I haven't installed any package here. I'm just listing it. ls is list, right? List, let's say if you are inside let me show you. If there is let's say slash directory, so if you want to see what is inside the slash directory, you can do ls slash, so you can see what is inside this directory, right? So similarly, I just use ls command to list everything what is inside this folder. That's it. So there are no packages used or softwares extra used. And now, right now, I am going to use one tool, one command, which is diff. For that, you don't have to install anything. Diff would be by default in in every Linux system. Okay. So now what we'll do, we have this two folders. So one is this folder without init, and one is with init, right? So we will use diff command to check what is the difference between those two folders. Sorry, actually, yeah, those two folders. So this one, and let me copy the same thing. Paste it and just add init at the end. Hyphen init. It is one at the end, right? Yeah, if you do diff, so you can see this is common subdirectories, common subdirectory, everything is common subdirectory, but you will see one thing which will tell the difference, which would, let me show you where you will be able to see that. Everything is common. Yeah, here you can see wait, only in. So you, if you see only in, so that tells what is the difference. You can see data, here is the difference, right? Only in where this and the initial data is different. So you can use even diff tool to find the differences, and here is how you can find the difference. That is the data folder is different from both the directories, right? Okay, sorry, this, yeah. So now we have got the idea of the storage part, where the when the container is in stop state, where it is stored, and that particular directory where lib docker is very important for you if you want to make tools on docker, like securing it, auditing it. In next lectures we will also see about a tool which will help you audit docker. So it will give you everything about docker, like what all you need to make changes of to secure your docker environment. Let's say if you are right now running docker in the system, let's say this is Fedora, you might be running it inside Red Hat. So you can download that tool and you can use that tool to audit it. Like, it's for the container security, docker security part. Okay, so we'll just brush it upon it. We won't go deep into it. If you want, then we'll arrange for some lectures ahead. But right now, that's not into the focus. Deepak has asked one question. If we stop two or more containers, then what about this data? Yeah, you can come. Okay, let's say right now I have stopped one container, right? Let us create one more container, sudo docker run it. Let's give the name os2 and CentOS. Yeah, you are inside this container. Let's make a directory called let's say web pages, and inside this web pages you have index.html, and inside let's say you have some information about the web page. Web page is here. Okay, And if you, let's say if you exit from this container, so you will still have, inside that folder you will have more, like extra two folders there would be created for this particular container, where lib docker and btrfs. Actually, I don't know why, but today my tab is not working in this. I have to manually write it. Yeah, so now we can see this, wait, yeah, this two came up, right? So this is for the your new container, the container which you created. So for every, let's say if you have multiple containers, you will have your, you know, the folders created like this. I guess this was your question, right? If you stop two or more containers, then what about this data? Yeah, you can you still have the data. You can go inside this folder, in this folder which is not the initial folder, and you can still access that data if it is in stop state. Okay, right now it is in stop state, right? See, uh, sudo docker ps hyphen a, it is in exited state os2, this one. But if you go to this folder, this one, oh no, not, sorry, this one, just go inside it. So you can still see your web pages folder here, and you can even go inside this web pages, and you can get the data of this web page. Let me change the command. Yeah, so here it is, right? Actually, you know why you need to know this concepts and why you need to know particularly this thing, because many of them, like many people using containers and docker, they feel that this data is actually stored on ram. Like when the container is running, so obviously it is a process, and process are obviously storing everything on ram, right? But what happens is when you stop this container, when this container is goes to stop state, so process is exited, like process is stopped, and even the data from that ram goes off. Okay, so what happens then, like where docker will store this data then, where it would you cannot have it on ram, right? Because the process which was using that data as exited its state, like it is not there right now. So they, like docker, store it into this folder. Actually, I told you that btrfs is actually a kind, you can say it is a kind of database. Actually it has, it stores everything in a format, like in a file system. For, you can say that it is a database for file system, and it is actually a concept of linux. You can, if you don't have containers, then also you can use btrfs software or program or code to have, to store the file systems. Docker is actually using btrfs. Let's say if you create your own container using some databases like redis, which can help you solve the similar problem, then you can use redis. That's your choice. That's what docker use, btrfs. It's a linux command, you can say, a software, you can say. Okay, it's not that docker has built btr, like this folder deliberately. btrfs is a protocol, a command, a program. Okay, I guess you got your answer. Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so next thing, moving on to the volumes part. So earlier we have seen a thing, like a way of using volumes. So what we did, if you remember, I'll show you that first we have created a directory, right? We created the slash data directory, and then we have mounted it to the container. But today we'll explicitly use the volume command. Okay, so let me introduce you to a command which is actually a different command in docker. So if you do sudo docker volume create let's say you want to create a volume, let's say web, let's say web pages. Okay, if we do this, so as an in inside, now you go and find. Okay, now another question I'll give you today, right now I'll give you, I have used this command, so where this web page folder is created. Okay, now go and find the answer for this. You will again, again I have already given the hint where it might reside. Okay, so now you have idea where to look. Okay, so if you run this command, so you manually make this data directory and then you mount it to your container, right? But now Docker has made this volume, has made this this directory somewhere in the somewhere in the directory which I showed you. And if you want to use this, so it's very simple, it is same as what we have did earlier. So let's run one, let's have this container it, I'll name it web os, and I want to attach volume. Now which volume we need to attach, just give the name web pages, and where, let's say we need to start, like we want a web server, so where www html, right? Here our web pages are stored, and we need to use the CentOS image. Okay, so if you hit enter, you will be inside the container, and what they have done, they have mounted this web pages volume to this folder where www.html. And one more thing I need to tell you about volumes is, let's say if you don't have this part, like if you don't have this created or neither this created, okay, let's say this folder is not created by default, it would be only created when you install httpd. Okay, so right now we haven't installed httpd, but we have mounted, that means it would create this folders on the fly if it is not there. So thus I need to mention this thing. You might even get in, let's say even in interviews, like what if we like directly mention the names here, actually they will create this folders on the fly if they are not there. Okay, now let's install httpd software and net tools. From here we'll get our ifconfig command. Let's even install vim, and let's even install python 3.6. Today I'll also show you something about images, right? That's why I am installing multiple softwares together. Yeah, so until they are downloading, let's discuss about that thing. So volumes has, now you can say that you have know volumes very well, and I have also given a hint, like where it would be, where that volumes would be. So you can go to this where lib docker, and just go through this directory, just try yourself, like what you can do, what would what docker would do. Let's say if you are the developer of docker, then what you would do, right? So yes, and everything is installed. Yeah, now let's go to where html, and here let's make our first web page, which is index.html. So yeah, in web pages, let me explain you very brief about. If you name your web page as index, then it would be the by default web page you will see when you hit the server. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I am making a basic web page of let's say e okay, just some random data is there, and let me even create one more file which is login.html, and I'll keep the data username, password. Okay, Yeah. And the final thing which I need to do is, if you remember, we need to start the services, right? So for that, in Docker, you don't have systemctl, right? So for HTTP, for web server, for HTTPD, we have this HTTPD command to start the service. It actually, this is not error. This is just the warning. Right now, if you go to this IP, this is the IP. If you go to this, you will see our web page, our website. Yeah, so e-commerce website. So this is the index.html page. So if you name your page index, then this is the by default page you will see, right? And the other page I named was login.html. So if you want to go that, you need to do slash login.html. So then you will arrive to this page, right? So this is what I was talking about. If you name your page index, so you don't have to write this slash index.html. You will be by default landed to that page. This one, this is the index.html page, right? So now let's move to a particular concept. For that, let me first explain you some more things, which is about creating your own image, right? And why it is important to know. So in the first class, we discussed about few problems, and one of the problems was of sharing, right? Sharing the environment or the things which you have done. So let's say right now we are the developers, and what we have done, we have installed HTTPD of particular version. We have installed Vim. Let's say just to mention, we have installed Python version 3. 3.6. Let's say we in future we might use Flask here to make our web pages, right? So let's say we have this software, we are the developers, we created a container having this all things. Now we have to share this environment, share this to some other people in our organization. Let's say the testing team. Okay, so earlier when there was no container testing, what testing teams need to do, they need to launch a VM which take around 30 to 45 minutes. Then they have to install these things, this softwares. Right now you would see that there is this basic 3 to 4 softwares, but in real life you might need a lots of software, right? So they need to install all the softwares and of similar version. Okay, everything needs to be same, otherwise the code might not work. Okay, and then what they will do, they will take this code. Let's say there's this index.html, they will put this code here, index.html, and then they will test, right? So this would take a long time. Now let's say we use containers, so we have this container right now, but how we will share this to testing team, how we will solve this problem? So what we'll do, let's say this is our container, we will make an image of it. Okay, we are right now we are using CentOS image, right? We have used CentOS, we have used Ubuntu also. So these are the images. So what we'll create our own image, and what we'll do, we will share this to our team. Either we can upload it into Docker Hub, okay, or you can even upload it and other registries also, open source registry, but Docker Hub is preferred. So what you do, first of all, you need to go to Google, and you need to create your Docker Hub account. Go to this page and create your free account. It is free of cost, you don't have to pay anything. You just need to create this account, and once you have the account, you can um, uh, publish your own Docker images, and other people can download. Okay, so let me show you if it is there. Yeah, so this is one of my Docker Hub account. So you can see that I have I might have multiple images. So this would be, this is how your account would look. Right now there won't be any images, but later you can have your images here. You can push your images here. I'll even show you how you can do it. Okay, so let's go to the explanation part. Yeah, so to create your own image, we have two ways, as I already mentioned in the first slide. So one is the commit command, which is provided by Docker, and another way is called Docker file. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? This is a command. Like a Docker run command. You also do Docker commit. But what is Docker file? So Docker file is something like a code. Okay, it is called infrastructure as a code, IIAC, infrastructure as a code. So what we do inside this, we will have this YML file. The extension is .yml, and inside this we will write few things. Let's say we want to use this. No, sorry. The .yml is for Docker Compose. Sorry. I just confused between these two things. So Docker Compose uses YML. Docker file, they don't have any extension. You need to make the name of the file as Docker file with D capital. Okay. And in this we will write few things, like we need this image, we need to install this, everything we will write in this code file, and we will run this file. So you instead of giving the image, you can also give this file, this code file, to your testing team, and they just need to run a command to make image out of this code. Okay, so this is also a way. We'll see this in future because we need dedicated full class on Docker file. Right now we will see this commit command. So okay, where is our system? Oh yeah, this was the system, sorry. So if you go to this container, so right now we have our web pages, right? So if you want to create your own image, so let's say if you see right now, just a minute, I'll clear it. So sudo docker -a. So you will see that web OS is running right now. So what we will do, we will use one one command to create an image out of it. The command goes something like this: sudo docker commit. And then we need to give the the container name which we need to create the image of, and the the name of the image which you need to create. So right now I am giving the name Shubham Bhalala, and let's say web OS, and the version is 1. And if you hit enter, so what they will do, they will take some time, and they have created this image. Now why I have created this image with particular format, because if you want to push this image into Docker Hub, so the first name, this needs to be your username slash, and then your image name, and colon your version. Okay, so if you see this images, I have Shubham Bhalala as it is my username, and then slash, then you have this name of the container, and then you can mention your version. Okay, so we have this image and the tag is version 1. Okay, now we'll create version 2. Let's say this image was published and testing team said that there is some error, there are no web pages. So you will deploy version 2, you will make a version 2 and then publish it. So let's do that. So now what you will do, you will create an sudo docker run it even just sudo docker ps-a. We will check what all images are running right now. Okay, So now what we'll do, we won't install everything else again. Instead we'll do sudo docker uh, start our web os 2 attached to web os 2. Inside this we'll go to this folder where html, and we'll make the web pages here itself. So which is, let's say, just few information. And let's also create, just this is just the dummy, it's not real yeah, obviously. Okay, now yeah, clear won't be there in this. If you know, quickly check if ifconfig is there, in web os 1, from where we have created the container, we have installed nettools. That means ifconfig should be there. Yes, that is there. So this is the reason why we create image and share, right? So the developer won't need to install nettools again. Even if you see the python version, it would be python 3.6. Okay, wait. We have installed python, right? Or that python 3.6 won't work. Okay, we'll check that. But I've connect net tools have been installed, right? So let's even install, python 3.6. I don't know why, or it is python 3, I guess, not 3.6. Yeah, it is there. Yeah, python 3 was the command, but I did it, right? Okay, no problem, but it is installed and the version is also 3.6. So this is how we use images. Now let me quickly check if the web pages are running. I want to show one more thing. The image, the IP is the same, which is 17.2. So let me quickly go to one. Yeah, so you can see that, this web server is not running, like it is not started. Now, the only one problem is the httpd. This command is not run. In previous container where we have our web server set, there we had this command run, but once we exit it or once we make an image out of it, this command won't run. But let's say if you want a particular command to run when when it is booted, so there is one folder inside in a linux in this linux, in the root directory, there would be one folder called bash rc .bash rc. So you need to go inside this bash rc, and at the last just write httpd. So what happens is, anything which you write inside this folder, let me show you which, in this /root.bash rc, it would be run at the boot time. Okay, so that every time this container is started, this httpd command would run automatically, so we don't have to start the service again. So now if you do httpd, now you will able to access the containers. Okay, what happened? Yeah, it is working, right? So now everything is ready. Now what we need to do is, we need to make another version of it. So let me check what was the name. It was webos 2, right? So now what I will do, I will use the same command, sudo docker commit webos 2, and now just carefully look at the command which I will be running, which would be webos, the same image name, but the tag would be different. First we made a version 1, now we are making a version 2. So actually this is how the environment in the industry is using the commit command. Actually they are not using commit, they use docker file, but somewhere or the other you need to use commit. Then this is how you make versions of a particular image. If you do sudo docker images, you will see two images of version 1, version 2. Now it's your choice what you need to push onto the hub. So if you want to push, so first of all you need to do run account first, make the account, then you need to run this docker login command. So put the username and it will ask for password. So I'm not sure if this works. Sudo, then username is Shubham Bhalala. Yeah, login is successful. Now what I'll do, let me again list the images, sudo docker images, and now I will push in docker sudo docker push. What's my image name? It should, let me just copy it. Web OS, and which version I want to push. Just type the version and hit enter. It will push it in the docker hub, and even you can if you want to use this image, the command which you need to run is docker pull Shubham Bhalala slash web os colon v2, and you will get the same image what I have done right now. What web pages I created, everything you will get as I have created. If someone is on the system, you can try it. And once it is pushed, and if you go to my this profile again, your profile in this case, you will have your own profile, and if you refresh it, yeah, so this is the image, right? WebOS. If you click it, you will also get the command to download it. And if you go to tags, so you can see it is version 2, v2, right? So this is versioning, this is called versioning. And even I can let me push the version 1 also. So you will have v1 also here, the same command, just v1 is not having web pages, and it is not having the httpd command already run, like it's not inside the bash rc. So if you now go to this and you refresh it, you will get two tags. See, version 1, version 2. So now if you want to pull the image, if you don't give version, then automatically it would download the latest version v2. Otherwise you need to mention v2. Okay. And let me even stop this container and try creating the new container. Let me exit it. Let's clean our environment using docker command, rm command -f. Yeah, so everything is neat and clean. Now let me check the images. Now we'll create an container which is sudo run -it. Let's give a name WebOS, and the image name is Shubham Bhalala / WebOS and version 2. And as soon as you will execute this, this warning came. That means your http command run by default, because we have kept it inside the root / dot bash rc file. And if you check the ifconfig, because it is already installed, the IP is same. Right now I haven't run httpd command, but if I directly go to this 172, you will get the same application. Okay, even if you download this image, And if you try by yourself, you will also directly get this web page, right? So this is how images are useful, and commit command is used to commit is a one way to create image and share. Okay, now let me remove it, clean the environment again, so we can move to our next topic. So this was all about volumes, and how you can create your own image using commit command. So our first agenda is achieved, and let's move to our other purposes or agenda which we have for today. It was about, I guess, uh, environment variables, or basic net. Actually, you need to know about networking, and you need to know about this architecture enabled, and even you need to know about this environment variable in order to make this project. We'll try to make this project, like finish this project in next, like tomorrow, or even in the next Thursday class. But let's start by the basic networking thing. So let me, yeah. So networking. So we won't go into much deep into the networking, but we'll just just brief about some of the concepts, and how we will use these concepts in our project. Okay, because I believe that if you learn any technology, building some projects side by side, you actually get the internals of it. You will also face some errors, you will also face some new kind of errors or issues which you haven't came across, or even no one has came across, and you can get to know more internals about the container or Docker, whatsoever you are using, whichsoever technology you are using, and you can learn from that, right? And at the end you will also have your project done, which is also a very good thing, because it reflects well into your portfolio, as you do you have at least 2 to 3 projects per technology you are learning. Okay, and one more thing, if you are able to build this kind of architecture in a very large scale, you can also say that you can also have your own education website running, educational website running with your own labs. Right now you may find many educational institute, like online education platforms, but they just provide courses. Only few of them have labs. Using this kind of Docker, and in future I would recommend you to learn Kubernetes from wheresoever you can. So once you know both the things, you can have this kind of educational startup where you have your own labs also. Okay. If you want to know something about this, this even I'll give you some homework. I've already given few, so one more I want to like to give. Let's say you have this container, let's say CentOS. I'm just giving an example. You launch a container, right? This is a container, but how can you get this shell of container, right? Now how can you get this shell on the web app, on the web page? How can you access your container, your container shell from your web browser? Let me tell you what I'm asking. Let's say I'm running a container. This is the container. Right now I am getting this shell on this command prompt, on this this console or terminal, but I want you get this terminal on the web browser. Here I need to here I want this, this shell which I showed you, this shell I want it here on the website. How can you do it? So if you find the answer, it's very good, and that you can also take this further and you can provide labs. Many blogging websites you might have seen, like Geeks for Geeks and many other, where you get on like the live terminal there, right, to code everything. Now how they can provide the shell on the web, or how it has been done, so just try it out. Okay, just try it out how you can do. Yeah, so let's move to networking now. So let me take example of web server only. So let's say we have our container running here, and the container is having the web pages, and it is running right now. The it is running on port number 80, right? By default, HTTPD is running on port number 80, and on the internet we are the clients. Okay, we are the clients. So if we want to access this website, let's say this is writeeducation.com. Okay, so this is writeeducation.com, and we need to access this. So what we'll do, we'll write this in our browser. So our browser is a client. Okay, and we hit to this server and we get the web pages back, right? And we interact with it, and then how the website is built, it's upon the developers, right? So in this, let's say if it is inside the container, and usually it is inside the container only in the industry also. So how they are serving this on a particular port number, right? Let's say I change this port number to something else, let's say 5050. So this the how this networking thing is, like how this web pages are being accessed through this port and everything. So this concept is called patting, port address translation. We actually have a concept called network address translation. Similarly, we have pat, which is called port address translation. So let me tell you what happens from perspective of the system and not containers. So let's say you have a system, okay, and you have a service, a web service. Now if you want your let's say someone on internet to access your website, then how can you do it? How can you do it? So for that you need a way that this client can enter to your system, can access this web page and get the results back, right? You need something, this connection you need. So what happens, your system would be here, and there you are connected to a modem. You are connected to a modem or your Wi-Fi or any source of Wi-Fi, and this modem is actually connected to your ISP, which are called internet service providers. Let's say if you are using hotspot of Airtel, so Airtel is your ISP, and this ISP are actually connected to an internal there are many in our India, there are 3 to 4 places where we have cables, physical cables moving inside, like under the sea, and they are connecting people around the world. Okay, so this particular wiring is physical wiring, and it is either by sea or by even from India they are by sea from 3 centers, and using that, this link, actually this link is represented here. Let me just remove this. Yeah, so this is how it goes. So from the internet, you people come. This let's say this is from America, and this is in India. So what happens? The guy, the let's say we are hosting our blogging website here, right? And which needs to be working on a port, right? On a port. So we'll discuss about this port. So what will happen, the clients on in America can come through this wires, underground wires, contact to our ISP redirects it to our modem redirects to our system, because in modem we might have phone also connected, or another PC also connected. So this thing comes to our system, it accesses the web page, it again takes the result, goes back the same way and into the client. and this is how the clients can see the result. Okay. So in here we need to do this thing. The one thing which we need to do is this, like we need to enable the service and serve it on a particular port. So if you see, if let me show you, if you go to the container and not sorry, not the container, the system, exit it, and if you do ping google.com, so you can see a particular IP here, right? So this is the IP of the Google server where Google is hosted. So this is just an IP. So what happens right now? Let's say there is also port number 80, but let's say there is an IP called 192.168.0.4. Let's say this is the IP of Google. So if you hit google.com, internally it converts to this IP, and then this things happen. Actually a packet is created. Okay, in packet this IP address is there, and what what clients are requesting is also there from the client side. From the server side, they have the IP of the client, and the result of the website would be there, and this is how the communication happens. So what happens, this IP is there, and on this particular IP you have a particular service running on port 80. So this is called port address translation, and you can enable this. You have to enable this. You have to tell to tell HTTPD to run on port 80. Okay. So you have, I guess, three, like 2 to the power something ports you can have, that is around 366 5. I forgot this letter. So this many ports number you have, this many port you can have. That means this many services you can start on your system. Okay, and you can choose it by yourself. It's not compulsory that web HTTP is hosted on 80. You can even change 80 to 90, 5050, etc. Okay, and what does NAT means? NAT, network address translation. Let's say this is your home router, and you have your own laptop, you have your father's computer, you have phone, two phones, so they all are connected to this router, right? And this is internet. On internet, there, let's say there's Google here, right? So if you want to connect to Google, let's say this is your system, so you hit google.com. So first this IP is created. IP is in the packet, there would be IP, and the request you want, it goes through the router, and this whole system is there, and hits to the Google server. Now Google server will again create a packet which have this router's IP address. Okay, IP address of router would be there, and the content of the web server, there won't be any one packet, there would be multiple packets containing different portions of the website, and they will come through this link again and to your router. Now router has this capability, has this software which keeps record, like each system has its own MAC address. Like MAC is like your physical address, and IP is your virtual address. Okay, so router has this list created, and in this list it is mentioned that this MAC address has this IP. Okay, so let's say your MAC address is 1.1. It's not 1.1, it is in alphanumeric value, but just say it is 1.b, and your IP is 1.2. So they have this record inside the router, and as soon as this packet hits back, it keeps a record that this system has requested for this website, and the reply has came. Now I have to send the results to this this IP of this MAC address, and not to this system, or not to this system, or not to this, only this. So routers have this functionality, they have this softwares inside them that can do this, and actually this is called net network address translation. So they have different systems connected, they have different IP addresses, and they can have this facility to do this. Now in Docker you have four, or I guess four types of network facilities. One is bridge. I'll explain what is bridge. One is none, means nothing is there. One is host, and I guess one more is there. Let's check it out. So if you do sudo docker network, you will see that okay, networks, sorry, uh, ls, yeah, you have three, sorry, you have three kinds of network, not there's no fourth one. Actually, you can create, if you want, you can create some more networks of your own name. Right, it has bridge, host, and none. Now let's understand a bit about this three networks, what it does, and then if time permits, we'll see about multi-tier architecture and environment variables. So what is bridge? So let's say this is your system, and inside the system your container is running, and you have a network card, right? NIC network card here. In a system you have network card using which you can get your physical, like IP addresses. Okay. Sorry, my setup just fell. Yeah. So now what happens is, if you run anything on bridge network, so what will happen, your container also have a virtual yeah, virtual NIC card. Okay, virtual like this NIC card is implemented using software. It is called software defined networks. So SDNs, they are softwares which can make this and NIC cards for your containers. That's why your container is having the 172.17.0.2 or any IP. So what and this is the internet, right? So if your container wants to go to internet, they need to somehow use this gateway, this NIC card, because this is the only way to the internet. So what if you use bridge? So what it would do, it would create a link between your NIC card and this NIC card. Okay, so that your traffic can flow to the internet. Actually your system would work as a router here. Okay, and you also have your home router here. Okay, just think your NIC card, your system would work as a router. Actually, not router. They have a different, setting by itself. But for understanding, you can have this thought. But it is a link. Just remember, it is a link. They have a different NIC. They have a different NIC. Now in host, what happens in host? Let's say this is the same container. This is your NIC card. This is your router, home router, and using it you are accessing the internet, and this is your container. So in the host part, what actually happens, the container don't have their own NIC card. No, what they will do, they will directly connect to this NIC, and they will use this and NIC card as their own. Okay, so there's this difference. There is actually link between this, and here there's no link. Actually they are directly using this. Okay, and in the none you don't have this you don't have any connectivity itself. In NIC you don't have that NIC. You don't have any connectivity to this host's card. Okay, so you won't be able to communicate to internet, right? So this is the basic three networking that they provide. Now sudo docker, yeah, there are no container working right now, and this are and yeah, by default whenever you create any container, it is inside the bridge. They will always use this bridge network. Okay, they won't use any other network. And if you want to right now, if you see from this system, let's say I have to create a new. From here, right now you are not able to access the web page, right? 172.0, I guess it was 17.0.2. Right now you are not able to access the web page. Why? Because you are into a completely different system than this VM and the container. Actually it is not up also. Sorry, sudo ps -a, and let me quickly web OS version 2. Yeah, and now from this VM you can easily access the website, but from this system you are not able to access it. Right now, why it is so? Because understand this one thing, inside the system you have your container running, and this container this the is running on 80, but it is not exposed. And you can from the system like this is the VM, and on top of VM you have your system. This is your system. So you can only access this from this this VM itself and not from system. So to do this we have to use the concept of pat, which I just told you, and how to do it. So let's quickly see the demo of it. Exit from the container, and it would be automatically removed. So for doing this you need to add one thing which I'll show you right now. Actually in previous classes I told you about RM, right? RM is used to directly if you use hyphen RM, when you do exit you won't your container won't go to stop state, it would be directly terminated. So that's why I'm using RM, so that the environments remain clean every time. And one thing which I was telling about, which was P. Let's mention it. P means for patting. Now you need to give the IP of the the system which you want, and then let's say both would be 8080. So let's say the system IP, the system port which you want to export is 80, and the web server is also working on 80, right? And then give the name, let's say web OS, and if you yeah, everything is fine. If you hit and docker run requires at least one argument, run a command in a new container. Just a minute, what happened? Yeah, I forgot to mention the image name. Version 2. So now if I hit enter, you will get inside the container, but one thing which you will see now, you will be able to access the container from this system, the VM. And if you go to this this is the other system, the your base OS, and if you try to refresh it, okay, so now what happened, just a minute, you need to get the IP of this. So ifconfig, and the IP is 192.168.64.6. So just a minute, 192.168.64.6, and if you hit enter, so you can see the same website coming right now. Let me explain what happened. So we run a command, and in that command the only difference was -p 80, 80, right? So our VM, let's say this is our VM. Inside the VM there is container. So our VM's IP was 192.168.64.6. 64.6, and our containers IP was 172.17.0.2. and the web server was hosted on port 80. So what we did, we mentioned the port number and on what port number of host we want to export. So what we did, we created a service on our host, on our VM on port number 80, which is actually taking the output of this. This is the VM is now acting like an router for this VM to get your service or get your web server live on the internet. And now your clients are, what is our client in our case? Our host. For your case, it would be Windows, right? Your Windows web server, and you can go to this IP, to this port, to access the same web page which is here. So this thing which we did -p, and the link which we created is called expose. Okay. And this happened because it was bridge network. If you would have host network, still you can do, but then there won't be need to do this. Okay, we'll see that in the next class, in the future classes. But for now, this was about the networking. And let me just take the few minutes to explain you the multi tier architecture. Now you will able to understand each and everything about multi-tier architecture. So let me take a fresh slide. So what is multi-tier architecture? So let's say there are clients, okay, clients on the internet. So you will let's say you are having your own website, blogging website. Okay, so you will have, you will have a front end. Let's say in this, you will have a container here, and in this container you will have the web server, all the softwares you need, and the web pages are here in this container. And there is another container which is your database. This is also a container, but this is your backend or database. Okay, so let's say let me even mention, this is your front end and this is your backend, and there is a link between these two containers, so that the data is stored in a database. And what we'll do, we will there would be one volume here, and this volume, let's say volume 1, is mounted to this database. So your if your container by any chance is deleted, your data is safe, right? And there's one more volume which is called volume 2 is attached to this, so that your web pages are not lost, right? So this is a architecture, a full architecture. So what happens, client will connect to this container, they will create username, password, everything, which would be stored to this database and inside this volume, and all the web pages here is stored inside this volume. So you can see there is, for front end, a back end, and this whole system. So this is called tier 1, this is the tier 1, and this is the tier 2. So this is called multi-tier architecture. And in industry, let me tell you, there will be so many containers running. Let me take a new page. So what will happen, let's say there is one container of database, and there will be so many, like there would be like hundreds of different front end containers would be there, who are accessing and storing everything in this synchronously. Actually there will be so many instances of database also, but that's a completely different point. And what will there would be clients here, and clients would be connecting to it. So this is how a whole architecture would be, a multi-tier architecture would be. And even to mention, if you learn about Kubernetes, we'll have one more tier here, which is called load balancer. And load balancer would balance this, the traffic, so that clients don't face any delay in the website. So somewhat simple architecture I explain it here, which is called a multi-tier architecture. And we are going to build this, and we will set up our own blogging website. blogging website using the concepts which we learned. Everything like network, volume, like environment variable is left. I guess we will take that environment variable in the next class, like that is tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll take environment variables, and we will start building our multi-tier architecture, or we can say our blogging website, where you can create your own blogs. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll move to the doubt sessions, like to the in the live chat. I'll be there. So if you have any doubt, you can post it there. Sudo docker ps-a don't work in my laptop. uh, like what error it is coming, like what it is showing. Just check that you have docker installed or not. I guess you are not, you don't have docker installed as per your query. As far as I can see, even from the screenshot that you send me, you don't have docker installed. The just read the error you are having. The error is very clear, you don't have docker command. So first install docker. If you are using fedora, so just don't, if you are using fedora, so you don't have to do any yum setup. You just write, you just need to run this command yum install docker, that's it, and you will have your docker setup in fedora. Okay, you don't need any yum setup. Harish, you can directly run that command yum install docker, and your docker would be installed. After that you do it, you don't have docker command installed. um, if do you have anybody have any doubt, so they can put it in the chat. Okay, I guess there are no doubts. So okay, then we'll meet in the next sessions, and until then, take care. And tomorrow would be the session, and as I mentioned, we'll be seeing about environment variables, and we'll start building that multi